Why is Saudi Arabia's distance from the US large enough to undermine the US petrodollar? This question will be prominent in today's video. To understand the importance of Saudi Arabia's new attitude, we must first examine the history of the US dollar and how it came to dominate world commerce. All of this begins in the 1940s, when Europe was its worst during World War II. In the face of considerable uncertainty, 44 allies agreed to the Bretton Woods system. It was determined that all countries' currencies would be anchored to the US dollar. This was done to meet the standards of the new monetary system. This tied the dollar to gold in the hope that standardization would lessen global economic volatility. Nevertheless, the United States' loss in the Vietnam War in the early 1970s disrupted the steady path of the US dollar. The United States was facing not just a balance of payments problem, but also a loss of confidence with its friends, collaborators, and other countries. President Richard Nixon's administration in the United States struck a historic agreement with the OPEC nations, despite having its back against the wall. In the mid-1970s, it agreed to offer U.S. military aid to the Gulf states in exchange for oil commerce solely in dollars. As a result, the petrodollar was born. The US got substantial support from Saudi rulers and claims that Saudi has been dictating conditions to OPEC states. Saudi Arabia is clearly the world's greatest crude oil exporter, including to the United States. It contributes 17.2% of total exports. The United States indirectly controlled the dollar through Saudi Arabia, anchored global oil prices, and rising rifts between Saudi and the United States. But rivalries between the White House and the Saudi monarchy have recently deepened. Since taking office, the Biden administration has been testing the Saudi monarchy's red lines. Riyadh was clearly dissatisfied with Biden's decision to withdraw assistance for Saudi Arabia's military assault in Yemen. The Saudi dictatorship has been subjected to a barrage of Houthi strikes against Saudi oil installations as well. Furthermore, Biden has been cozying up to Saudi Arabia's arch-rival Iran in order to resurrect the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA, nuclear agreement. But the mounting worries are not one-sided. The Biden administration has accused OPEC Plus of collaborating with Russia and drastically reducing global oil supplies. In retaliation, Democratic legislators filed legislation requiring the departure of U.S. advanced weaponry stationed in Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. Apart from a range of armaments, around 5,000 troops are now stationed in Saudi Arabia and in the United Arab Emirates. That is why Saudi Arabia has expressed a strong desire to join soon-to-be-expanded clubs of BRICS nations. So in large, BRICS Group's commerce in BRICS currency will be the most significant shock to the petrodollar since its establishment in the mid-1970s. The petrodollar, which was created as a consequence of an agreement between the Saudi-led OPEC group and the United States, may be destroyed by the same pill. The collapse of the petrodollar will be marked by BRICS, Saudi-led OPEC trading in BRICS currency for oil and other global trade. A powerful BRICS bloc is poised to demolish the petrodollar empire. BRICS is a formidable grouping of 5 major developing economies: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. The group accounts for 41% of the world population, 24% of global GDP, and around 16% of global commerce. Since its inception in 2009, all member countries have held yearly meetings. The 14th annual conference of the BRICS nations was conducted digitally in China this year. At this pivotal encounter, Russian President Vladimir Putin proposed a groundbreaking proposition. He revealed that the BRICS nations are going to establish a new global reserve currency known as BRICS currency. If the move proceeds as planned, it would be a big shock to the US dollar, as the launch and trading in BRICS currency will rapidly diminish the lion's share of global commerce taking place in the US dollar. Additionally, the BRICS organization is set to grow and include many more rising economies from all over the world. Argentina has formally requested for BRICS membership, but what may surprise the US is that one of its long-term friends, Saudi Arabia, is also interested in joining the BRICS organization. Apparently, Saudi Arabia has notified the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa that it wants to join the BRICS expansion bloc. Notably, this one step by Saudi Arabia has the potential to end the US dollar supremacy. If the entire BRICS group, which includes Saudi Arabia, begins trading in BRICS currency, the petrodollar's dominance in global commerce may be completely eliminated. To be honest, the development did not surprise me. For months, Russia has been looking for measures to lessen the dollar's prominence in bilateral commerce. While it was already dealing in local currencies with China, the rupee-ruble exchange is being evaluated. In addition, in the aftermath of the sanctions, Russia is pledging to increase foreign direct investments on its land. To that end, it has urged India and other economically viable countries to invest in Russia. It is even attempting to simplify the usage of India's unified payments interface in Russia. If correctly implemented, the prospects of the petrodollar being phased out are quite high. But before we delve into this topic even further, allow me to introduce you all to economic news. Please like the video and subscribe with all notifications turned on if you are enjoying the video. Also, doing so will help promote and spread this information among your friends and families, allowing them to understand the truth about our global economy. Now, let us get back to the video. Presently, the GDP of only 5 countries in the group accounts for 23% of the world economy and 25% of global investment flows into and out of these countries. These countries have a significant presence in global commerce. These countries control 18% of global commerce and products. Other kinds of commerce, such as services and commodities, are also flourishing among these nations. Despite this group's support, the Putin-led Russia now faces sanctions from the US and its allies, according to Marco Fernandes, a Brazilian researcher at the Tricontinental Center for Social Research. The United States and its allies seized around $300 billion in Russian reserves, taking advantage of its geopolitical significance. The US is also ordering Russian ships to refrain from engaging in bilateral commerce with India and other nations. It is urgent that we stop using petrodollars. It's no surprise that Russia is taking extreme efforts to reduce its reliance on the petrodollar. Its reliance on the dollar trade has left it in a precarious position. The reliance on the dollar as a currency reserve is precisely what compelled India to shift its economic policies in 1991. The similar phenomena led to China's admission to the World Trade Organization. While each of the aforementioned changes may not necessarily be detrimental to countries, they do have long-term implications. One of them is reliance on the US economy and growing pressure to remain in the good graces of the US. If countries take a position contrary to that of the United States, it engages in a sanction war with them, as Russia has done since 2014. Oil imports are extremely important to Eurozone countries. With virtually no domestic crude supplies, each of the currency bloc's 5 largest economies, Germany, France, Italy, Spain, and the Netherlands, is at least 90% reliant on foreign purchases to run refineries. In this context, the dollarization of oil has proven to be a particular source of consternation for European Central Bank officials in what has already been a challenging year. The strain on energy supplies caused by Russia's measures to reduce gas delivery has resulted in massive hikes in consumer prices, which reached a record 9.9% in September 2022. Asian countries have been experiencing similar difficulties. By August 2022, the value of China's oil inputs was up 50% year-on-year, despite lower total quantities as the government grappled with limitations imposed to halt the spread of the pandemic. Thank you for watching this video. Please do check out our other videos by visiting our channel so that you can be more knowledgeable of our global economy. Also, leave a comment down below whether you agree with using the petrodollar or not as our global currency when purchasing oil. Take care now and be safe.